Welcome, guys. Welcome.
That's it.
We are, guys. We're 1 second. Hey, good grief! Really? All of a sudden, everybody's like jumping all over everything. Hang on here. Boom.
So,
Everyone here is okay?
Okay. Shall I do a little overview of what today's one is?
Sure. Go for it, Andy.
Okay. So, well, first of all, hello, welcome. Great to see you all on the new system. So this is StreamYard, which we were introduced to by Stephen Burns. So thank you, Stephen. And it is hopefully substantially better than what we were doing before with on Teams. So part of the reason for today was to obviously test this out so that we're ready for the next, big demo, etc.
Future ones.
So
we're hoping. Future ones. I'm hoping that this is, the platform to go with.
Yeah. So we're going to be running at least one video back to show you. So hopefully you can give us feedback that runs back smoothly at your end. And hopefully the video is better quality than before and all those things. So feedback would be useful. So things we're covering today. Obviously the competition's over, so we'll be covering the competition winners and the runners-up and some of the other ones that were really good. We just want to show them and stuff like that. We've also literally just put it live, the 2025-03 update. So we'll be covering what's in that, or at least some of the features in that that are good. There's a few new things. There's also some really nice sort of updates for people that will speed up the work on things like Octane and stuff like that. We've also got let's see, so we've got that we covered that. No, I think that's pretty much it. So we kind of just going to be covering those things off and talking through them. So what should we start with? Do you want to start with the competition, or do you want to go 2503 first?
Well, since as soon as I turned on this thing, people were like, where's 2503? So it is in your account. I released it easily 18 minutes before we started this, so everyone should have it.
Yep.
Just go check your account. It should be live. It should be there. If you have an issue or whatever, drop me an email. But all should be good. We hit everything.
A couple of the highlights on it. Obviously the compatibility with the 50 series cards is in that build, so it's going to be you'll be able to actually use those cards with it perfectly, which is great. There's also been some major speed increases. One of the things was if you've used Octane, or many of you use Octane, you'll know that you'd often render and have like a 30-second, 40-second wait in between frames. That's now been eliminated, or it's basically switch on and offable. So if you've got deformations in your scene where it needs to be looking at every object all the time, then you're still going to have that be the case. But it's I think offers default. I think Deuce, isn't it? I think it is.
Memory serves. I think it's actually set on as default because it's
okay.
Because that's the way you would actually want it, unless it's a specific.
Yeah. Well, certainly on the renders I've done so far, it's had no gap between the renders, so it's obviously looking at it in a much better way, and you literally will get one frame, then the next frame rendering the moment the other frame ends. So if you're doing big long renders, that's going to make a substantial difference to render times, which is great. It's also using the latest core, I think, of Octane, so that sets us up well for doing the upgrades in the future, so or over the next year. So that's all done as well and in there.
Yeah, it's using the OTOI 2025.2 API for Octane.
Yeah, as you can see on the screen. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So so that's that. Deuce, do you want to cover some more of the other things in there? There's some one brand new thing in there, of course.
As promised, we have the GLTF format is now in 2025. Currently, this is only GLTF. We're currently working on GLB support, and that may be rolling out here actually in the next couple of weeks. So we'll pick up another patch for that. But this was this was what was promised, and it's working good, both import and export of GLTF. Additionally, there's just bug fixes. All this will be in in the release notes that'll be in the documentation. There's some typos for modeler preferences. There was a name typo. Some fixes on the DP kit tools, camera info, channel info, light info. There was some crashes with Pro Geo nodes crashing on toggling with an empty mesh or itself. We added an AC gradient attribute change event. There was the image crash when turning off image cache after being used by very large numbers. So there's a lot of the fixes that comes along with any new patch. That
includes tendril, doesn't it? I think as well.
Yes,
so
there was a fix for the tendril preset. It actually had to do with having no spline to place instances on if you activate it early, and so we found that fix. And there was some scripting, some Python scripts that had a string formatting issue. This came up with the scene comments as one example that was brought up. That's been fixed. There was a fix with cloth effects and soft effects. So you just have to take a look at our the documentation fix list to get the full list. Don't want to just be boring as heck just sitting here.
No, it's quite a lot of changes, quite a lot of fixes. There's 30 plus fixes across the board, so a lot of them are good, so really good. So yeah, so I'm pleased that we've obviously finally got that out. A little bit longer than it took than we would have liked, but I think waiting for GLTF, I mean, that literally was only finished this week. I think earlier this week.
Yeah, and we've actually been testing it, in and out with the several, with obviously other packages that can load and save GLTF. Oh, okay. Steven, gonna call you out there, buddy. I have gotten some side comments here. I think I know what the issue is. Should be a fast fix. I will get to you as right after this show. So I'll get that checked into. I might even be able to do it as we're doing this, but I don't want to tax the system. So we'll get to it right away suddenly.
Cool. So okay, so obviously 2025 03 out, loads of fixes, great, GLTF in there, etc., all done. And so should we do
one quick thing, Malin, talking about the education version, we have an education version, and of course, obviously this patch, addresses and is with the education version as well. Now, if you're talking about the acquisition of educational versions, drop me an email. We're working on the back end support for how to do it automatically, but currently, if you just drop me a line, I can get you set up. Not a problem.
Yeah, and obviously we're working on a syllabus for that as well, which is coming. Mm-hmm. So only I think that's probably the only reason we haven't overly shouted about it is simply we're working on a full syllabus breakdown to make it as easy for educators as possible. That obviously takes quite a bit of time to write, and it's been worked on for quite a few months already. But we're getting close. So that's coming too. Good.
I think so. At least that for our discussion on the 2503. Oh, Shabazi, I have looked into this. We're going to be. I'm going to be getting in on this right after, and hopefully it'll get into 04. I see where it is. I know where it is. I just need to, kind of pull it out. And I think I know why it went away. The monitor itself is there. That you get the feedback of the end of it, but you're talking about the progress bar, and that it's the actual progress bar going across that got missed. So I know what it is. I know where to go. I just need to look into it. Hopefully, it's not a difficult thing because, like we say, it's just a quick thing.
Actually, just while we're at that, for all the Mac users out there,
yes.
we fixed the preview window for Octane, so it would often start up black, and you'd have to basically just move or resize the box a little bit to get the image to come up. That now fixed, so you don't need to do that anymore. That's now done. So finally, and we by the way, it took us a while to find out what was causing it. So because we knew it was there, we just couldn't remedy it, and but we've now remedied it. So that's now done for all Mac people as well. So which is great.
Yes. All right. I think another thing that we need to take into is our contest. We ran a contest here, right? And I think all of this, you have to forgive us. I mean, this is like a new toy, right? I mean, you got to punch all the buttons.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look here. So what I'm just going to do is going to start up here. So in no real order, these are just some of the ones that we had submitted. To our this is and I would love to say people's names, but I don't want to offend. This I'm gonna call this a fractal. This was a nice good one.
Yeah, beautifully lit, by the way. I mean, really great. Yes. I love that one.
Yeah. Dan Cox gave us a great one. This is a lot of fun. You have to really look into this one. We'll see if we can't get some of these posted to the site, because there's a lot of hidden. This one you've got to take a long time to look into. This has a lot of great stuff. Graham Gazzard did us a nice one here.
Yeah, love that.
And you might not quickly get. Some people get it right away. Some people don't. That you see that you've got the LightWave logo is the asteroid field there.
And we point that out because literally when we first showed it to our team, 3 people didn't see it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so here we've got Jeremy Total has got one here. Just trying to give everyone a chance to. Here we go. Akuzi's got his spacewalk.
Yeah, again, great fun.
Matthias gave us a little transport. Micah here took us into a sci-fi tunnel. Oh, okay. See there? Hotel. Totel. Not total. Totel. Got it, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Renee gave us one here. LightWave Guru.
Literally, we all spent ages looking at this. Just like, wow. Do you know what I mean? Incredible.
And then we've got the bait from Nick Stevens.
Beautifully lit.
And then let's get into some video. And here we go with Julian here, a little sci-fi entry. Here we've got a fun cell render. And then we go back to our friend Dan. He's just got too much creativity and evidently too much time on his hand.
Excellent.
So we've got some creative people out there as part of our as part of the.
And that's obviously only some of them, but yeah, fantastic. Do you announce the winners? Yeah,
it's one of those things that I think we were going to have three winners, and I need to make sure that I got their names right. Pardon me, I cleared them as I played them. Again, we're just learning here, right? Vamp, Andy, do something. Oh. Okay, so Dan Cox, congratulations. Renee, again, congratulations. And I feel like I have to go back to my email. Fractal Lacarf, congratulations. Well done. I'll be getting with you guys via email to see how you want to take care of your winnings and such. Again, you guys, you're not either on. Hang on, I can just do this. Again. Yes, I know that you're having trouble downloading 2503. I will take care of that as soon as we get off this. As soon as we get off the stream.
Is it the hasn't just uploaded correctly, or
what it is? I think it's the public private thing on where you actually download it from. The links are right. It's just whether or not they're set to public or private. And yeah. I'll take care of that.
Cool. I think. So I mean, obviously, well done, and thank you for the submissions on the sci-fi one. We're not going to do a Halloween one this year. That said, we are going to be doing a Halloween reel. So if any of you have got any Halloween shots, it'll be great to sort of get some of those in, and Christmas shots and things, so we can get them on the reel for that time. But we're not doing a competition this year on those two. Show the ones we normally do. So I think did we do a Christmas one last year? I'm not sure.
I don't think we did a Christmas contest, but it is one of those.
Halloween, wasn't it?
Right. So because this one went as long as it did, there would be no time. No one would have any real time to do anything to turn around for an actual contest. But if you've got something, if you've been working on something, hey, we're going to be putting together a Halloween show reel, and again also a Christmas reel. If you want to get your stuff seen, submit those. Absolutely.
So I suppose questions really are the next order of the day. So if any of you want to type up any questions you want to ask us.
So let's see. I've got a thing. Wait, I've got a thing. Oh, wait, I have to do this, right? Isn't this what all streamers do? And it says, make sure, hey, like and subscribe so that you get notified when we come, and hit that notification bell so that you actually, right? Did I do that right? Did I do that right? I think. Yeah. And I guess it would also go without saying that this is going to be, on YouTube after the fact. Anyone can review this as well. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to roll back through here. I'm going to do this little thing here. Wait for it. Here we go. And come back to my comments here. And I'll just scroll back up and say, okay, this comes up quite often. Are we planning to rework workflow, combining it into one modeler and layout package animation of modeling tools? Now, I will say this comes up every time any one of us show up in public. We know the power of this. We know that people want this. I will tell you that in my day-to-day, I'm practically modeling and layout because of what I'm doing. I'm using instancing, I'm using scaling, copying, everything else to put things together that would typically be done, as a modeler. And I will tell you this, that we have as a team talked more and more about how to bring this about. What's the best approach? Because, and I say this, because we still have a number of studios that appreciate the division. They appreciate having a layout and having a modeler so that you don't have the collision of, work going back and forth. So are we going to do it? We're going to do something because we totally get it, but it's one of those things that everything needs to be approached in a way that makes everyone happy, whether it's having it as a switch, having it as a mode. We'll have to play with that and get your input.
There are multiple ways of doing it as well. I mean, you can even do more than one method at the same time. So you could have it as a switch, you could have it still as a standalone at the same time. They don't have to be, they're not mutually exclusive. And I think also, one of the things is as we have more modeling capability into layout with the nodes, that also becomes more powerful and more capable, and we can do more via that route. So,
and you see, as soon as we start talking about it, we obviously get people who say no. We get people who don't.
Well,
it's
there's always. I think that's the whole thing about making it, whatever we do, as flexible as we possibly can do. And I think as we get further into the code and can do more things and build, there are some new paradigm things we're building, which ostensibly are layout based, that are going to give you the capability of doing things you've never been able to do before in layout in real time. So there are things that are going to change things that we're working on, but then again, they're not mutually exclusive, they're just new. So right. And the aim really is to add to the arsenal, not necessarily destroy workflows that you already have. And if we can possibly do it, we'll give you both. So it's but then that was always the aim right back at the beginning. I think one of the things one of the first sets of questions we had is, will you merge them? Will you blah, 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 the usual things. And we said then obviously that is an option, but it doesn't have to just be that. So we have a plan, and it's there are things that as we work through it, will make things massively faster, handle bigger model sets, but also duplicate many tools into the layout that will enable you to do a lot of things in layout, which you then don't need to go to Modeler for if you want. So, I think that's good. There was a quick question on Linux as well, and
you mean this one?
that one, yeah. So, again, one of those things we said we'd look at right at the beginning. It is down to the quantity of users is the issue. We're a relatively small team, and so subsequently it has to be, where do we put the resources and where do we put the development, and so Linux is still on the table to be done, and it's not mega difficult for us to do, but it is time consuming to do it. So it's one of those things that we've got other things we need to get done first. Then I'm pretty certain we will end up doing something like a Linux version. Again, it's talked about probably. We do big sessions a couple of times a year where we just talk about stuff and things that we want to do, and it comes up every single time. So I don't really have an answer, or I certainly don't have a time, but it's certainly still on the table, and it's not going to be difficult for us to do, but it is a question of, do we do that or do we do that? And at the moment, it's been other things have been the bigger priority. So,
all right. I saw this.
Actually, I hadn't really overly given that any thought. I don't think there's any. No, I'm not sure. I mean, I would have, because obviously it's going to be a resource, Deuce. It will probably be on the website anyway, won't it? The educational.
It's one of those things. I mean, I can see it. I can see people wanting to have it. Regular people wanting to have it. I can also see, that, well, maybe only if you're an educator. I mean, I can see it going on either way. It might be just a question, for when it gets complete. Maybe it's maybe there's a teardown or something. I don't know. That's a good question, actually.
It is a really good question, and I think, to be honest, we hadn't thought about that because we're so focused on trying to make it great for the educator. One of the problems with an educator, not a problem with them, but they are worked very hard, have a massive amount to do, have very limited amount of time to do it in. So, one of the biggest problems with them taking on, any package is obviously then writing the syllabus for it and then putting that together in a very limited amount of time and then starting to teach it. So part of the reason why we're putting one together is to cut that whole process out, make it as easy as possible for the educator to go through a logical process to get a student up to a reasonable level. And we're trying to do that at a very base level, then a higher level, then a higher level again, and all of that's going to take time. So the first one is obviously the starter pack, is what we're working on right now, although we have it mapped out for the other stages as well. And it's being done by, a guy who's in a university sort of, lecturing and teaching. So we also are passing that by another friend of ours in the States who's going through that stuff and checking it for the American side, just in case the language is slightly needs to be altered and so on. So there is definitely, we want that for all students to be able to use and for the educators. There might be a case where we might want to roll it out to the educators first and then basically allow that to sink in for a little while, get feedback on it, polish it up, and then make it publicly available. But we'll look at that and hopefully give you some answers to that soon. So I would think we'll better give you, because it's down to just thinking the whole process through. Is that the right thing to do? Will that harm anything? Does that damage anything? I can't see that it does, but we do need to actually think it through. So thank you for putting the idea in our head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good.
So then there's this one.
Oh yeah. So yes, obviously we made the mistake, and I think I said this last time, that where we were very open about what we were doing very early, it bit us on the bum a bit, in that we made some plugins, we showed them early, and then Blender copied them and put them in Blender, at the same time as we launched the last version of LightWave. And that happened with a couple of plugins and so on. So this time around, we've been significantly quieter. And part of the reason we're doing this monthly, and we aim to do this more regularly. Actually, I don't think we have done it monthly. We've done it sort of bi-monthly, but we aim to do this, I think, starting from the next version of LightWave. We're going to try to do this how regularly, sort of bi-weekly, monthly. We're certainly going to do it very regularly, these meetings, right? But one of the things we can't do is talk about what isn't released yet early. We will be showing it and soon, but it's not going to be something that we will talk about those things ahead of time. So getting back to the GPU question, right back at the beginning, we mentioned and we talked about we would want to improve the render engine, which we've spent a lot of time doing. The render engine now is as good as it's ever been, and as long as you learn the new method of the AA, it's really good. It is. I don't think this is a secret, but we talked about definitely working on a render engine that's GPU compatible. We definitely will be doing something like that. I won't give you the detail now, but we will go down that path. But again, just for all the people on Octane, and me and Deuce had this very chat, I think, yesterday. Whatever we do, this isn't an either or. So at the moment, it's quite heavily expensive for us to support Octane, because it takes a lot of resources, because there's a lot of things they've changed, which therefore require an awful lot of programming just to make it work, right? So it's taken a lot. But as we get bigger, we will be able to put different resources onto maintaining that and keeping it up to date. But we have no intention of that not continuing. So whatever we do, if we did do a GPU render engine or a hybrid or something like that, render engine going forward, now the CPU is we're happy with that CPU render engine. That's not going to be an either or. We're still going to keep the development of Octane going as well. What we hope is as we get the speed up and we create a next generation render engine, is that you obviously would gradually get used to using the new LightWave path, and would prefer using that. Certainly there are advantages with that. If we create, it's like the CPU render engine we got now, obviously it can do everything from photoreal to cartoon through to fake volumetrics. It can, there's a lot of things it just does naturally, but of course it's CPU, so it's not as fast. So there are advantages to an internal render engine as opposed to a third-party render engine. But just I'm only mentioning that, and a bit convoluted. Yes, I should have said yes. No. So but my point was, I didn't want to scare all the Octane people by saying we're definitely going to do that. Stuff. Yeah. Octane. That's certainly not going to be the case. And our aim is, Deuce says it every time. Our aim is to play good and play nice with all the kids in the block. So the more compatibility we can make, the better it's going to be. And actually, talking of compatibility, Deuce has a bit of news. Do you know what I'm talking about, Bud?
Oh, I do actually. Let me just.
By the way, so just say it. I just literally dropped on him. I know what it is, but
I absolutely know what it is, and so let's see here. That was this.
Yeah. So. Yeah, actually, it's big news. So, Deuce will explain what Reactor is in a second. But Reactor is the start of a process of getting compatibility fully with LightWave and oh God, what's it called?
Fusion.
Fusion. Duh. Right. So yeah, literally brain fart. So so Reactor really is the start of that, and so Reactors, just it's in beta. Just they're just gone. I think it's public beta actually. They've just been released, and so it's public beta. You can play with it now, but it's the start of us getting full compatibility with Fusion and those guys. So I just thought, we've been saying we were going to do this for a while. It takes a while because the guys doing it, are jobbing high-end animators. So they obviously want to make it great, but they've also got some, maybe a big shot to do on this film or that film. So very kindly, they're doing it, and I've got to say they are wonderful to work with. They're really nice guys.
Well,
They
yeah,
love
and they suck less.
Yeah, they suck less. And, their website name, not saying anything. No, anyway, but it is a start of a really cool set of tools, and they have done such a good job with it. It's fantastic. Do you want to just give a quick rundown what actually Reactor part of it does?
Well, I mean, from what I understand, the way the guys have described it to me, and it is a way to keep up with your third-party plugins. So you have a number of third-party plugin folks that make things, and they may update it. Reactor keeps track with this through Atom scripts. And as these things get updated, you just click a button and it updates the plugin into your LightWave. So you don't have to have the, how do I add? How do I, do this? How do I, swap this out? How do I do it? It's like it's a way to keep all your third party updated with your current LightWave. So as the third party updates, that you update, it updates you rather. I compare it to, there's a tool called CurseForge for World of Warcraft, to keep all your add-ons updated. It just, it does the hard thinking for you. It's really great.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend go and have a look at it. It's definitely, if you use Fusion and that tool set, which I certainly do, and I know most of the people I work with use that. I would recommend going to have a look at that. It's going to be the start of something very, very cool. And we suck less. That's the website.
That's them. They're here.
Oh, cool.
And shout out to Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, absolutely.
Amazing work. So, very pleased to have that done. And as I say, it is only the start of it. So it's going to be, eventually we'll have the ability to hopefully transfer full LightWave scenes, everything straight across. So it's going to be good.
There's a number of, interesting ones here. So like, any updates to Chronosculpt and Turbulence, these are coming. It's one of those things. Everything is a triage. We can't do everything all at once. Else, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. We have to fix things, as we go. We can't just fix everything all immediately. As things get updated, we will make notes of it. And I can tell you that we're working in the background on this very thing. Would you mind if I know I'm not, I'm just never, and but I want to. So Chronosculpt or Turbulence. Let's just blow it. I'm not supposed to talk about any of this stuff yet. But anyway, Chronosculpt. All I can say is Chronosculpt is okay. I'll give the minimum info now. It's going to be great. So Chronosculpt is going to be very, very good, and a lot of updating has happened to it. A lot of improvements have happened to it, and there's some things added to that that are going to make compatibility
even better. So I mean, with other packages, so it's fantastic, and it's a amazing amount of work's gone into that. It's really good. On the turbulent side, one of the things we've been trying to do is get the gradients in. Again, part of that actually was for fusion. We were trying to get the gradients to transfer and the volumetrics to transfer straight into fusion, which we've got working. And also, I think we talked about what's the name of the fire? What's the fire? Embergen. So one of the things with the Embergen thing was we could get everything in really easily. They made it very simple. All of that works. So LightWave is highly compatible with Embergen and the water plugin and so on. But the one thing that didn't come across was the color gradient. So we've done that. I think we've done some of that in this build of LightWave, and certainly it's an evolving thing. We're still working on bits to fix, but it means when you get Embergen in, you can actually transfer across the gradient and so on. So there's lots of compatibility things we're trying to make work to give you as many options as possible when you're using LightWave. And of course, one of the things that's very important for us, it's not good enough we do a plugin that doesn't work with all the other plugins. It's got to work across the board because it's got to be super robust for production. So we hear all the time on other programs that they'll have this plugin that won't work with that plugin and this that won't work with that, or it's not that reliable. Everything we try to do is to make things as compatible across the board as possible. So that means if it works in LightWave and there's a gradient issue for getting in an Embergen thing, let's say, or from Houdini, we want that to work and be compatible from Houdini through to Octane, LightWave, and also Unreal. And yes, before you say it, we know we've got to do an update for Unreal. So that is something we will be working on.
I want to hit a bunch at once that has similar things. Number one, can we purchase RealFlow and incorporate it? Can we get PLG tools and third powers and integrate it? We're not going to go and just buy everybody and put it into LightWave. That's not a thing. Now,
can I just chip in on something about specifically to the RealFlow? Sorry, just what's in my head. So RealFlow is amazingly powerful, but is unbelievably difficult to use. And if any of you have used it, I've got it on my desktop. Calculating on it can take time, right? It can be big. One of the things which I love about what the Embergen guys are doing is they are working on a fluid engine that now it's hard to know until it's done, but it certainly is considerably faster than even Houdini's, which is considered to be the fastest one. So our friendship with the guys from Embergen and our making compatibility with Embergen will give you, by the end of the year, we think, compatibility with their next generation of fluid system, which may mean you may not need to use RealFlow. You might want to use the what's the water part of Embergen called? Do you remember?
Liquigen. Liquigen. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what our initial hit has been. We've obviously working on some other things as well, which I won't mention now. But fundamentally, it's to have a very robust solution for fluid, both internally and with a company that's doing it really well. Obviously, we can already get the Houdini stuff in, but there is a merit. I do understand why buy that company. I'm not sure that the RealFlow guys would want to sell. I mean, they've got a very good high-end business of high-end tools that they supply to the racing car manufacturers for fluid dynamics and those sort of things. RealFlow may no longer be, their main emphasis, but I mean, it does have some really nice things in it, I have to say. But we're working on solutions for that.
I want to point one thing out here, Ericles. I get you, and I get you. But it's one of those things that, as other people have mentioned above, in other in other areas, um, sometimes you don't need the hyper realistic take 4 days to calculate a simulation. You're just wanting to get that look that says, yeah, okay, that's fluid. Yes, okay, that's water. Um,
Well,
you know,
I think there is also, I mean, when they were talking us through what they were about to do, which obviously we can't mention, one of the things was Embergen was at very early days, and so if you've been playing with not Embergen, Liquigen, you've been playing with a very early version of it. There's what they've got planned is a substantial improvement on that, and so we've had a really good chat with them. I don't know what their release is like, but Django Effects are a good bunch of guys, and I think they are making some good stuff, and the stuff they're going to do is going to be, it's a bit like Turbulence. If you want to do the flame close up to camera and the smoke close up to camera, Turbulence will do that beautifully. But if you've got a dozen explosions going off in the background, then Embergen will do that quicker. So and super easy. So there's a place for using both, and it's just a question of how you want to use it. I think the thing with the Liquigen is what they're working on is very large scale fluid capability, dynamic fluid, and so what they've said to us they're doing and what they've talked us through is impressive. So it isn't out yet. So let's just hopefully that's going to do it. And there's other bits which we want to fill the gap on that we are filling the gap on. So I think we'll have that pretty well sorted. Hopefully next year, either via connection or internally in LightWave. Sorry, Deuce, I didn't mean to
no, absolutely. One of the things too, I'm just going to pop this up real quick because it's a fast mention. I'm going to just say this. I'm going to say that there's options coming that would work out really well for a hobbyist. I just want to leave it at that. So we will just have to,
yeah. And we're not talking, a year away. We're talking,
right.
A few months. Yeah. We are not talking very far away. But yes,
got some things to sort out. So let's see. I think we've actually kind of covered that one. So I'm going to hide that one. So let's do this. And this is actually an interesting, concept. Any chance? Sure, there's a chance. Is it a high chance? I don't know. Is it a low chance? I'm not going to say. There's a chance. There's a chance that that here next month, someone will release a version of a chatbot that you could just dump the whole manual into, and it would be there for you. Things are moving in such a strange direction sometimes in the AI field. I'm afraid to say yes or no to any kind of question that has to do with this kind of a thing.
I mean, one of the things to think about with AI is at the moment you're effectively renting time with AI for AI then to do things for you, right? So, and that's because AI needs an immense amount of power to do the things it's doing. So we've been talking for quite a while, and we've got ideas on ways we want to implement AI in LightWave for use of LightWave for producing finished images. But they take time, and they're things we will be working on. With regards to chatbot, generally speaking, that would not be something we could afford to buy. We maybe could program our own, but that would take a lot of time. If we were taking one off the shelf, then it would have to be something that's added on, and therefore would add cost to the price of LightWave, right? So all those things are open, but where possible, we try to keep the cost of LightWave as low as we possibly can. In fact, part of what we're talking about for lower cost versions of LightWave, we're very much thinking about that to give people options to have a much lower cost input into LightWave, and then longer term, even specialist versions of LightWave potentially that give you a LightWave for this or a LightWave for that, which again would could be useful for people. And that and I'm not saying we're doing this, but I'm just saying in general, let's say if you put LightWave on an iPad, it's impractical to have the whole of LightWave on an iPad because the interface isn't geared to running a LightWave on an iPad as is. However, if you wanted to have a character animation system or a system that did X, Y, or Z, you could tailor make that for the touch interface and it would do it really well. So there are spin-off products that we're thinking about that would be great for people to be able to use on the train or while they're on their way somewhere to, you do this little piece of animation, then go back to work and then dump it into their main LightWave. So I think we just want to think about everything we do and make it as sensible as we possibly can at every stage, I think. So that's that then.
I'm going to address this. You're right. There is no trial link on the LightWave website. The reason for this is because of we're still trying to work out a few issues with the website back end and certain things. We've given our web guys a little bit of a break here because of these massive denial of service attacks that hit the web like crazy in the last several months. Them putting in, back end things, fix things, guards, breaks, but we've gotten past that. We're now into the point of talking to them about a number of different things, and the trial is one of them. I will say this, the system is there in LightWave. The system is there in the back end. It's just a matter of myself getting with the team and putting in that little thing in order for the trial link to be present. Now, that being said, I have handed out by hand anyone who wanted a trial. All they would need to do is just send me an email, and people have been telling people this, and that's absolutely great. That has taken place. That being said, I don't want to do it by hand anymore. So it's just literally one of those things. It's in process. We just haven't gotten it there yet, but it's close. It's close.
Yes. Just a quick question on rigging.
Well, there's a number. So there's this may make mention, right? Love to see core improvements for riggers, and again a halfway discussion, or at least question about IK booster. So I know that this is an area that's near and dear to your heart, there, Andy. You being such a hardcore rigger.
Yeah, I like my rigging simple. Yeah, yeah, it has to be simple because I'm simple. So that's
there,
right. Yeah,
I will say there's things. We are talking about it. There's options that we're investigating. There's options that we're discussing. But again, it's one of those things that it's all a triage. It's all we're taking things that we have to take as they go, and hoping here in the very near future that things can accelerate in certain areas.
Certainly on the Rigit side, there are improvements we're making right now, just some things we're fixing and some things we're adjusting to improve that. From the IK booster, I think that's, again, as Deuce said, that is something we're very much looking at to see if we can do a V2 of that and update that completely. And then there's another solution we're looking at, but it's I can't say it's early days. It's something we're talking about as a as a third option as well. So none of them, by the way, are again mutually exclusive. They're just different. So the IK booster is really traditional rigging. Bang, rig it is automate the process, make it as easy as possible to do, but still have it adjustable. Lots of things there that we are fixing and improving, and certainly on the Step-It plugin, that's being updated right now. And then the other option for us is to have another rigging system that is particularly good, let's say for cartoon animation or whatever. All of those things we're looking at. None of them are a dead end. All of them are routes that are valid in their own right. So ironically, I think when we started the conversation, we wanted to have, we knew our rigging wasn't great, and we wanted to have a system that enabled it to be much easier, faster, quicker, so it was competitive to the opposition, if not beating the opposition. And I think the tools we've done actually speed up the process so much that I would say we're ahead in quite a few ways of a certain kind of rigging and a certain kind of production. For high-end rigging, I think that we need to go and improve the system we've got, and I think we can do that. But again, it has to be faster. And then so we're looking at all of that. It's definitely, honestly, since we started, I don't think it's the one thing we haven't neglected. We have worked on rigging as a fairly constant thing throughout the current set of updates we've done.
What I'm just going to kind of try to cover a number of things. I'm seeing people asking about Material X and PBR and USD, and and I'm just the thing about it is that guys, things take time. It's not like we don't know about all these things. Vulkan instead of OpenGL, Metal, all of this stuff, and even we were even in a invite only black cloak top of the in with the Illuminati kind of a meeting, and big companies, I'm not going to mention names, but big companies even said, we're keeping OpenGL for the next 5 years, simply because of users' hardware. And it kind of goes into some of the bits that people are asking about. We had made mention, here we go, that about hardware compatibility with LightWave going forward. We're still talking about this, and what this has to do with is the SSE2, SSE3, the AVX, all of these different things that in one fell swoop and in one fell flag, people who don't have, current, say in the last 5 years hardware would be out of it. They wouldn't be able to use LightWave anymore. And it's such a thing. And again, right. This comes into the same kind of thing. It's the, we've maintained too long, maybe an old, or the mindset of let's keep people with 15-year-old hardware happy. It's hard to do. It's hard to tell people no. It's hard to tell people, look, you need to upgrade your machine in order to do things. But it's,
I mean,
it's
just to chip in on it. I think one of the things that's held LightWave back is making it fully backward compatible for 15 years back, right? So to put it bluntly, there has to come a point, and there will come a point, where we have to do a line in the sand, and that's the last version that's going to support that, and then this next one will have all those things in it. It's never been difficult to turn on. It's just about compatibility as being the problem. And So we will be we're literally having the chat. I can't say too much, but it's yeah, of course, better compatibility with hardware.
And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take this as a nod that, you know, yep, this is where we've kind of gotten, and it's about time, actually. You know, we're looking at this, and, you know, sure enough. So let's. I have one more bit of news that I would like to drop on you, and that's you know, Andy may have, you know, kind of forgotten about it, but that's okay. I will be attending our first. Guys, you know, mark your calendars here. It's one of those things that, yes, LightWave is going to its first convention in quite the time, and I'm going to be there. So getting used to this here. So there we go. Industry giants here in Dallas. It's October 4. That's not tomorrow, Saturday, but a week from. I'll be there. Gonna do some show reels. Gonna shake hands and rub elbows and try to get maybe some other further interest. We're a gold supporter for Industry Giants 25 this year, and hopefully this will become a yearly event for us. But I'm excited about it. If you're in the area, you know.
Hopefully the start of us going to more of those things as well over the next year or two. So you know, yeah, it's a long time coming, don't you think?
I think so. I think so. But I'm excited for it. I think it's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and you know, we can start kind of wrapping this.
Just a quick, again, going back onto actually, can I just mention a quick thing on USD? Would you mind? I'm not going to mention a thing on USD. I just want to mention generalization on USD.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So USD. So USD obviously is vast, just so you know, and you can do almost any different cut of it to be USD compatible, but that doesn't mean you're actually fully USD compatible, only with the bits that you've chosen to add or make work, right? And it's fairly open-ended, a bit like FBX and you know, those sort of things, in that they're fairly malleable formats, which is why you get incompatibility between one system and another system, but then it works perfectly with another system. So USD is obviously, it isn't in its infancy, it's been around a while, but it's still relatively new, and everybody's choosing slightly different paths and different flavors of USD for their compatibility. And we are no different. We are working on it. Just, it's going to be a bit of time, but we are working on it. So I think, you know, compatibility is everything. So, and I mentioned that again, I think 2 years ago when we started. We will try to make LightWave as compatible as we possibly can with as many packages as possible, and that's only going to continue, and that includes on formats. We've already started trying to improve the formats that are included in LightWave, and we'll be adding more as well. So it just bear in mind they aren't the sort of thing you just pick off the shelf and drop in. You literally have to make them join up in all the right places, and it's a real laborious, difficult task. So you end up trying 100 different types of scene to see whether that, you know, works and transfers correctly. So we have been working on it for a little while. It takes time, but we will. You should never say definitely, but it's going well, and we believe we'll have it relatively soon. So, but compatibility is mega important to us as we go forward.
Agreed.
So are we good? Any more questions?
Oh, sure. There's, we, like I say, we could sit here for the next 2 hours and we, but we need,
What's that?
enjoy Comic Con, Curtis.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Um, but I think this has proven, at least currently, to be a better methodology of us doing these live shows. I think this is going to be the way we're going to do it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this, that we'll be doing our next event on October 30, same time. I will get this scheduled so that it's up on the YouTube channel, so that everyone can plan for it.
And obviously, obviously I can say the usual thing. You've got to turn up. It's going to be the greatest thing. All I can say is it's a longer session on the 30th, and there's probably a good reason for that. So I'm just saying, make sure that one goes in the diary. All right, it's going to be good. So we're good.
So, guys, I think. Oh wait. I like that.
Yeah. Thank the Lord. No, it's
Yep.
yeah. No,
Guys,
no. We knew, and I'm glad we changed. So
yeah,
it's yeah. I mean, today was a bit of a test bed for us. This is like
it
our
was.
dry run, partly for the 30th. So it's we needed to test it and make sure it works, and give a dry run of what things will can do next time and so on. So obviously, thank you for being part of it. I forgot about that. I've got the gong from off the gong. So it's seriously, guys, you expect a lot more of that. That is all I'm going to say on the next one. Yeah, that's good.
Guys, enjoyed it. Till next time, have a good one.
Yeah, and thank you for helping today and being part of it, by the way. And thank you for so many turning up, because this was a relatively short notice, and I think for us it was a test bed, and obviously to launch 2025.03. So obviously when you get that, which Deuce will remedy after this, he'll be there slaving over a hot computer. So obviously enjoy it, and obviously give us feedback, and any feedback you can give us on this, let us know when it's worked for you wherever you are, and that'll be great.
I shall now go fix the download for 2503. So give me about 15 minutes. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Really good. Thanks, guys.